The Demon Barber of Fleet Street's back on Broadway, the first full-scale revival of Sweeney Todd in years. The classic revenge tragedy is packed with star power, including Josh Groban and Annaleigh Ashford. Let's check back in with Paul Wontorek.
That's right, Tamsen. Already a Tony winner for You Can't Take It With You, Annaleigh Ashford is back on Broadway, wowing audiences in Sweeney Todd. We had a chance to catch up at Gallo Green.
How are things down on Fleet Street?
It's so good to see you.
I saw you down on Fleet Street. How's the your accent work is excellent, by the way.
Thank you very much. I'm talking it all the time.
Was that a stressful element to this performance?
I did Kinky Boots for the first year,
Yeah.
and all of us did the same thing. We all sort of talked in an accent all the time.
Yeah.
But Lauren was from the north, and Mrs. Lovett is from the south. So there's certain sounds like, it's darker in the north, like punch card, but it would be like punch cards, like if you were in the south. Little things like that. That was like, oh, it was like a mind puzzle.
You are now locked into a Broadway run. The show's a hit. And you mentioned Kinky Boots, which was obviously a big moment for you in your career. Kinky Boots, you were living in the joy of being in a world with fabulous drag queens every night, and Raise You Up and Jerry Mitchell full-out choreography and the energy of Kinky Boots. How's it living in the world of Sweeney Todd, which seems pretty heavy?
It's a beautiful, different kind of magic. You know, it's so reminiscent to Shakespeare to me. You have this great material that's, you know, one of the all-time beautiful pieces in the American musical theater.
Yeah.
And it will be forever because it's so good on the page that it's everlasting. And just like Shakespeare, you look at what's on the text and you make it your own. It's like when you find a beautiful piece of garment clothing and it becomes yours. It was once somebody else's, but you put it on and you make it your own. It feels like one of those shows to me. So while every show that you do has its own magic and its ups and downs, this show feels like I'm doing a true classic. Like in all great Shakespeare, like in all great Chekhov, with all of the drama, also there has to be equal levity. So it feels like that. This show specifically is so balanced. We think of it being so dark, but Stephen Sondheim always said, well, it's a comedy. You know, he'd always be like, it's a musical comedy thriller. So I always try to lean into that.
You obviously did Sunday in the Park with George, with Jake Gyllenhaal. Heard of him? He's pretty good.
I don't know who you're talking about.
Apparently he's like an MMA fighter now. I mean, that guy.
I know, how about that? All I could think about was like, oh, good for you. I just can't imagine how many hours were spent on blood, sweat, and tears in the gym and protein.
Right, because you know how committed he is.
Oh yes, he's so committed and amazing and genius person. But yeah, it was like, when he commits, he commits.
Yeah, but that was a beautiful Sondheim production, Sunday in the Park with George, and you both were amazing in it. But you got to do that with Sondheim around. Now this is sort of the first big Sondheim production with Sondheim not around. What's that like? I mean, it definitely, it's a new era now because he was so involved in all of his productions.
You know, I just read an article that Patti LuPone did after Company, and she said, I miss Steve and I miss his notes. And it just felt like, a weight had been sort of lifted from me because I've been feeling that so deeply. Like, I miss him in a way that I knew I would, but creatively, the day-to-day of his presence was such a blessing, and I knew it at the time, and I knew I would miss him. But I remember our first preview, our first run through in the room, opening night, all through previews, I would go back and read notes that he gave me from Sunday in the Park because I knew they were going to be applicable to this. I feel his spirit every day. I pray to him and go, hey, I'm excited to do these puzzles with you today, every day before the show. I talk to Angela Lansbury. Oh. You know, I say my prayers to God, and then I say hey to Steve and Angie and my grandma.
Wow, I love that. Okay, they're all with you. They're all in the dressing room.
Yeah, the Lunts too. We're at the Lunt. We're at the Lunt Fontaine. So I'm like, hello Lunts, please join us today. All the angels are there. But I do feel that even though he didn't get to be with us physically during this experience, he's all over every single page and moment. So yeah, I miss him, like, big time.
You are such an individual And Annaleigh Ashford is, I think, one of the great stage. I mean, I'm telling you, you know, I adore you, but like just what you've done already at your young age and what I'm picturing in the future, it's an incredible career. But you're going to be your own legend that people will be talking about. But Angela Lansbury, obviously iconic, but you've also Bernadette Peters, it's the Parker George. You've even done some iconic, you did an Idina Menzel turn in Rent. You did a Kristen Chenoweth role in Wicked, right? I mean, you've sort of done a lot of roles and added your own stamp to what other people did, and every time turned it into something completely new. What do you like about that process? And is there anything difficult about that? Or when you take on somebody like Mrs. Lovett, people come in with an expectation of who she is.
You know, anytime that you revive something, you're always confronted with expectation.
Yeah.
And also an obligation to carry on what somebody created before you. I always sort of feel like I've been given a roadmap by these beautiful actresses and authors, and also a piece of their divine spark, a piece of their soul that they've left behind on the page. And it's sort of my duty to honor that and them, and then also find my own way down the path. And it's always on the page. So I always just try to go back to the page, because that's what they did when they first pick up the script. You know, go back to the page and you'll find your way. You're still searching every day with the map. But man, it's been an honor to play these incredibly strong women.
Dot in Sonny the Parker George and Mrs. Lovett and Sweeney Todd are two very coveted Sondheim roles. So obviously, are you setting your sights on Mama Rose at some point in Gypsy? I would love to see your Mama Rose.
I always say that I'd be a great Electra.
Well, sure.
I want to play Electra when I'm 85.
You're gonna get the call. You're gonna be like, I don't want to play Mama Rose. I want to play Electra.
When I'm like at the very, I want to do it in my end days, like maybe with a walker that lights up. You know,
I just think that would be delicious.
There's sometimes that I have moments where I'm just in awe that I got to get to play these roles. It's like getting to have known Shakespeare while he was alive and getting to have played Hamlet. You know, it feels like that. It's sort of bananas. I'm so beyond overwhelmed and grateful.
You really deeply respect the legacy of theater and the history of it, and what you talked about with passing these roles on, and these performers, and these spaces that you work in. I mean, all of that means a lot to you.
It means a lot to me. I grew up in Denver. These credible people that I learned how to make theater from. That's when I learned about the importance of passing on to the next, and also honoring your elders. And we've had some really special people come and see the show recently. Bernadette Peters being one of them. Ben Vereen came recently. All of these wonderful titans of the theater. And to me, they're the people who teach you how to do it. And they're also the people who teach you how to do it on stage, and they teach you how to do it off stage. Because we're a family backstage, and you can feel that family when it comes on stage. If it's a happy family, you can feel it. You can feel it out in the house. So I always try to give an energy and air for a happy family.
I love that. So let's talk about the patriarch of that happy family, I suppose, Josh Groban. The bizarre patriarch. Sweeney Todd. By the way, there's a lot, it's a sexy thing going on between Mrs. Lovett and, I mean, you're really, I'm bouncing all over him at times. I mean,
well, she does say, always had a fondness for you, my dear, right when he comes in. And she says, me rumpled bedding is legitimized by the sea. So there's been some rumpled bedding. It's in the text.
I feel like there must have been a lot of cracking him up moments in rehearsal, because he's Josh Groban. I mean, he's a very lovely,
he's so
you know,
funny.
he's just a lovely, warm man. You know, he's sweet. He's doing the Sweeney Todd thing, right? And then you're just like, going there.
I mean, Josh Groban is so funny.
Yeah.
Remember when him and Sarah Bareilles hosted the Tonys?
Yes.
And they did that, like, they're so funny. So funny. Josh, and also, he's like amazing at banter. I mean, he's been doing concerts for sold out arenas since he was 20. So
Yeah.
he knows how to He knows how to tell a joke, baby. And in life, he has like a delightful sense of humor. So he's the best straight man ever. He's so fun and fantastic, and he's so accommodating of my weirdness. He's such a sweet, gentle soul towards it. And also, one of the things that's special about his energy is he has all that fire and anger and all the dark stuff you're supposed to have with Sweeney, but then there's a warmth and a lightness about him, I think, that's really special and unique, and also plays into, you know, the love story that I'm desperately trying to create, much to Sweeney's dismay. There's times before entrances where, you know, my action in the play is to just survive. And getting to survive, one of my tactics is by having this man do life with me, take care of me, love me. That's how I can survive. And I find myself just like holding on to him. We're not on stage yet, and I'm still just leaning on him. Poor Josh.
You mentioned your husband, Joe. I think you're going to celebrate 10 years this summer of marriage. Congratulations. That's exciting.
We made it.
You made it, absolutely. And you have a little boy.
We have a 6.5-year-old little boy. Yeah.
How's family life?
It's great. You know, they're navigating me doing this play, and my sweet husband is just taking care of me and my sweet boy so beautifully. Like in a way that I'll get to repay him back the favor soon. I'm sure someday he'll be doing a play, and I'll make his coffee in the morning and bring it to him and make sure he gets to sleep in. And I'll take Jack to school. They're taking care of Mama right now, which is an amazing thing. 8 shows a week. It's a challenge, and it takes a village. It takes a community of people to help you kind of get through each day. And my boys are so good to me. I'm so grateful for my husband and my little boy.
So what does Jack know about meat pies and barbers and Sweeney Todd? And
he knows it's scary. He knows that Sweeney Todd, we had to explain, there's too many visuals for him to kind of not get it. So he knows he kills people, knows it's not real. You know, he knows all that.
Okay, yes.
He's 6.5, so he gets it. But he knows that it's just a little too scary because Mommy gets thrown in an oven at the end like Hansel and Gretel. That's what he tells people.
Spoiler.
I can't see Sweeney Todd because my mom plays Mrs. Lovett and she gets thrown in an oven at the end like Hansel and Gretel. But I don't think he knows what's in the pies.
He doesn't know what's in the pies.
Cannibalism is like, it's a step too far for a 6.5-year-old. No.
Wait till he's 8.
Yeah.
Then you can just cannibalize.
For real. I feel like by the time he's 8, it's fine.